I guess I have to hit a obligatory. All right, all right, all right. Welcome to another episode of the Harbor Podcast. I regret saying that McConaughey quotes. We are back with the summer series doing a top 20 of my personal favorite films of all time. This one's called Dazed and Confused. It is the ultimate hangout film, and I believe is the spiritual successor to American Graffiti. And I love it because I'm a boy about atmosphere. And let me tell you, this drops you right in to 1976, May 1976, the last day of high school. And it is about a group of teens going through the rest of the school day and the nights. And that's pretty much it. They're
The
hanging
the
out. It's
the
cool.
initiation into the summer and the next year of
Yeah.
school or college.
Yeah. This is the definition of a hangout movie. There's almost no plot to speak of.
It
It's a
is
non-plot for sure.
the hangout movie. And let me tell you, it stars a lot of up and coming actors who got their start here.
Mhm.
Most of the cast of uh
Like the main
of-
cast.
of Kevin Smith's Mallrats is in this movie. They all got their start here.
Yeah, it's
Um,
you have a young Mila Jovovich, obviously. Young Ben Affleck, which almost goes
Affleck.
unnoticed unless you like stay for the credits. And Matthew McConaughey's just breakout, steal the whole damn movie performance.
And
Him,
what's her name from Chasing Amy and Mallrats?
Joey Lauren Adams,
Yeah.
Mhm.
who's from
And Jason
who's from-
London from
who's from Little
Mallrats.
Rock.
Yeah.
Oh
They
yeah,
even
I
like-
forget about that.
Yeah, she's from Little Rock. Anthony Rapp, who's the nerdy guy with the glasses, he was
Yeah.
in Rent. He was in
Tony,
Stage
Oh
Play
yeah,
of
yeah,
Rent.
yeah.
Like he apparently in Adventures in Babysitting too, which I haven't seen. Yeah, there's a everyone's in this movie.
Everyone.
Everyone.
Even if you don't think you know them, yeah, you know them.
You know them from somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
Yeah.
one Adam Goldberg, he's in Saving Private Ryan, and he's
It's true.
a beautiful. There's two different people in A Beautiful Mind in this movie. You know, it's so odd, and it's so odd, dude. Being an actor is such a weird gig to me because it's like,
Says the
You-
non-actor.
well, yeah, no, but that's what I'm saying. Like, as someone who doesn't acting is such a weird gig because you can show up in this as a minor character and somehow have way more lines than you do in another movie that's maybe bigger budget, and for all I know, you get a bigger paycheck for because this is
Right.
a very low budget movie. I don't know. It's just an odd gig being an actor
Yeah.
and having to wait to get auditioned. I say that every other podcast, but Jesus Christ.
A hangout movie, for people that don't really get it, it's just like you're watching people just have a good time. And like it's often like teen movies like this or something you can just like throw on while you're like sitting around with your friends, goofing
Yeah,
off and stuff. And just
exactly.
like, you know, just to hang out. It's the same thing with like
Action
YouTube,
movies.
like today, like YouTube vlogs and like certain things. That's why people like vlogs and stuff. They like watching people goof off and have fun and just talk
Be
about random
themselves.
bullshit.
And they like having a almost parasocial relationship with these
Yeah.
people, as it's called.
It's like all the people that like paid to be like part of like people's like Twitch streams or whatever, and
Right.
yeah,
Patreons and like
yeah, and they're hot tub trains and stuff.
something.
Like,
Well, besides that, but like there's sometimes like I watch these two people on YouTube and they're like, you could be, you could pay to be on our Patreon where we talk about our real life and stuff. I'm like, but I don't know y'all. Like,
Yeah, but you
I'm
feel
fine with
like
just-
you know them.
yeah,
I feel
I'm
like I
fine-
know him.
You
I'm fine
feel
with just
like
watching
you know
y'all
these
talk
people.
about whatever
Because
y'all talk about.
they all
Yeah,
fill certain archetypes, or
Yeah.
we can all relate. Like we all know, we've all met the creepy older Matthew McConaughey guy. We've all met the freshman or been the freshman. We've all met the pothead or been the pothead. Any sort of these
or the
these
alcoholic.
archetypes.
Yeah, all
And
those.
it's really amazing that this film. The thing is, the teen movie, the 80s had come and gone by 1993, which, by the way, that's when I was born, and I think you guys are a year younger than me. So the teen movie had come and went, and this somehow feels like it's setting archetypes, even though a lot of the archetypes have been set. And this is someone who didn't see it in theaters, obviously,
Well, yeah.
but it's amazing how much mileage it's able to get out of something that should be more cliched. And I
Yeah.
appreciate it a lot more, a lot of the nuance and the characterization and the dialogue and the performances, which some of these performances, I have no idea how he got them out. I mean, I think this is just a lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, for real.
Now, I should say I love Linklater. I absolutely love Linklater.
The thing about this for me is it feels like it's a documentary. It feels like Linklater just captured these people as they were living their lives. Like it doesn't feel like acting at any point.
No, there's got to be a ton of improvisation.
You can tell.
Oh, there is.
I mean, because he was born in 1960, so obviously he was 16 in 1976. So this is straight from his noggin. And so, and you can feel that like immediately. The soundtrack was like perfect. He knew exactly what he wanted for each scene with each song. And the soundtrack is like as important as anything else in the movie. Like it's its own character.
It's almost like, again, it's almost like a Tarantino level just thought process. Like I'm going to make the movie and music around each other. You know?
Right.
I'll also say the more I watch it, the more Austin is a character in this, which is odd because Austin is so booming now because like Joe Rogan moved there and shit. But
yeah, Austin's more of a character in Slacker, but it's definitely very prominent here too.
It's more of a character in Slacker, but it's definitely a character here because and I've never been to Austin actually. I've been to Texas, never been to Austin.
But you feel like you've been there.
But here's the thing: as somebody who's from Arkansas, who's from an adjoining state, like I really appreciate Linklater. He's one of those, he stays connected to his roots because Austin's an interesting city and it's that hippie city, but it's also in the South. And that really comes through in all of his work. Even in like Boyhood, it comes out because there's like this tension of like different cultures, which like, and this is going to sound so, I'm not trying to complain about like Hollywood elites or something, but it is nice to have like a major director who's not focused on the coasts like that, you know, but also isn't making like God's Not Dead 3 or something.
Well, you could do the same thing with what's his face, the dude that did Midnight, what was that movie? Midnight Special, right? The dude from Arkansas.
Oh, right, yeah.
Who?
Whatever his name is. Yeah.
Jeff Nichols? I've never seen a Jeff Nichols film. I feel bad. I'm not Revan. Oh well.
Arkansas podcast coming next. We talk about True Detective.
Well, what I was saying, I mentioned this a lot, Adrian, in my Adventureland podcast. So this is my second time seeing this movie. I feel like even though I was in college and so had graduated from high school, obviously, I feel like being definitively out of education for several years now. Maybe dumb my brain down enough to enjoy this movie. Or what I mean is like I actually have nostalgia for my educational years now.
Okay.
I'm not in the middle of them. So now I can recognize what nostalgia looks like. Even though my high school experience was nothing
not at all the same.
I'm very happy to hear that because we've mentioned it before, but Scott and I had differing high school experiences. I was going out partying, driving around town, doing that kind of stuff. And so, of course, I had immediate love for this movie as a teenager, but my love for it became more and more complex as I got older and older. Now I look on it and think about different stages of my life, not just high school, but like, you know, college and all that. But this is like one of the most inspirational movies to me because this is exactly the kind of storytelling I want to tell. And I've written something that is its own thing, but like this in American Graffiti, it's just like kids.
I've read it. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. As kids just, you know, teenagers, they don't know what they're doing.
Dudes. No,
I know. It's there's something very oddly beautiful to it. And like, you just sit around and kind of hang out with them. And even back when I was a teenager, it was a problem I had. I was overly aware of the experiences I was currently having, and I would like log them in my mind. I would be
it's only like gotten worse.
This is something I'm going to be nostalgic about later. This is like, wow, this is a cool like coming of age moment. And it's like, it got overbearing and aggravating. Like at some points, it's like, I've always had problem being in the moment, and I do slip into being in the moment, but like, it came in handy because I would write down certain things, very like potent like experiences from that time, so I could use them in a later time if I wanted to, like for like script or like a book or something.
Well, one of the lines that is not
Uh-oh.
a famous line from this movie, it's not one of the lines you would think that really jumped out at me, was Adam Goldberg's character Mike. I have IMDb open. I don't remember all these character names.
A lot of them aren't even
but
said.
He's the, you know, the one. He's the
With
one
the
who
glasses.
is no, not the one with the
With
glasses. Friends with ones with the glasses who like gets in the fight, quote unquote.
Yeah, he gets in the fight with
guy at the party. There's a point in there where he's in the car with them, and he's saying like, why is it always like we have to like do this and be in high school, and then we have to go to college, and then we have to get a good job? It's like every moment only exists as something preceding another better moment. Why can't we just have this moment have its own value? And that stuck out to me in a lot of ways. Is an almost meta commentary, because Linklater's fascinated with time. I mean, he's a filmmaker, he should be writing in time. But he's kind of fascinating. He's self-aware that this is like a nostalgic movie, but also like it is a hangout movie. It's just that enjoying of a bygone moment and capturing of it with no real purpose or aim, which is what being a teenager is. But also it made me reflect on my own high school experiences, which contrasted to Adrian's. I was, you know, playing video games, doing my homework.
I played video games.
I know you did.
Halo 3.
But you know what I mean? I was like, you know, I'm way more introverted than you, even today. And I had trouble living in the moment in a different way, in that I so didn't like school, didn't like the social functions of high school, didn't like high schoolers. You know, I did not like most of my classmates.
So you're kind of like Mike in the movie then.
So I was kind of like, I want to get the fuck out of high school. I want this to be over. Like, I didn't appreciate it when I was there. Now, would I go back to high school? Not for $1 billion fucking dollars.
No, baby.
No. But there was an element of like nostalgia of like, I missed that. And, you know, like looking back at it, am I really that upset that I never went to any like parties with alcohol until I was in college? That's fine. I was older, I was more mature.
We still had a good ass time in college.
Dude, me and you, Scott, we kind of had the same thing. Like, I mean, I was in band, and like the most I got for like social events was going to band and going to like the football games and like every Friday throughout high school. And that was it. Like, I didn't go to the parties. I didn't do anything like that. I mean, we played games and we hung out in the summer at Adrian's.
Played Munchkin, boy.
Right. We're film podcasters. Come on.
Yeah.
We're not doing this because we're rolling in women in high school.
Yeah.
But
you know what? It's Sam. Sam, it's your fault. You showed me Superbad in 9th grade.
And now
that set off a lot of ideas in my head.
I created the Kino Cowboy.
Which is, I didn't really know Sam. I didn't know you at all in high school.
No,
I didn't even know who you were. No offense. You didn't know who I was.
Not really. Not until college.
Well, I was a year ahead of you, and then we had like a couple classes together in college. And well, that even makes me think now of like how I still struggle with living my life, and like because I've become almost
shit.
No, even though I'm vaccinated, I've become almost like agoraphobic. Like I'm almost afraid to go out and do shit.
I think that happened to a lot of people.
That happened to a lot of people. It is
pandemic.
Bad with me. Like I'm not just saying this. Like I think worse than most people, just from like talking to people. And also I have people who are like, "Come on!" I'm like, "No."
The next podcast is Scott gets an intervention.
Dude, kind of. I'm getting sushi with people tomorrow, so that's good. Progress. But
it's like, dude, this shit is still affecting me today because like this whole summer, it's like I've been like trying to like plan stuff. It's like, okay, I need certain amount of things to happen to feel like I had a good overall summer, you know.
Dude, that's how I feel like every
But even that is not living the moment. You're cultivating experiences.
That's what I'm saying.
Of living in the moment. Yeah, and I'm agreeing with you very aggressively.
except when
it's hard to live in the moment. It really is.
It is hard. So like when I went to
there's a whole mindfulness industry that's popped up of white woman fucking tie-dye and bukkake Eastern philosophy stripped of all meaning down their fucking throats and selling it through fucking adult coloring books. I don't even know what I'm saying right now.
I don't either. I thought we were talking about the movie.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Well, I was just saying, like, but like, I do set myself up for this, but like, there are, you know, when I went to Branson for my birthday, it's like when I was at the theme park, like doing shit, I wasn't thinking about like, oh, hey, look, I'm doing this. So I can slip into, you know, good moments of living in the moment. It's just so hard. It's like almost like debilitating at times.
Because we're gonna die. We're gonna die.
I know.
It's behind every.
And now I'm 27 and
behind
it's
every
fucking nuts.
I'm 28.
And I'm like, fuck,
I'm older
I
and
gotta
wiser.
figure something out.
This is the Dazed and Confused / existential crisis podcast.
Well,
but just like
everybody
watch
knows this
3
fucking
white men
movie.
just
and if
explode.
you don't know this movie, watch this fucking movie. And if you're not gonna watch this fucking movie, there's not really a plot anyway. So I don't know.
Watch Easy
well,
Rider.
the opening credits of the movie itself, it's just a bunch of little shots of like all the characters, but they're all doing things that like give them immediately their own little character. And you think, well, it's a hangout movie. There's not much of an arc. Well, a lot of characters, not all of them, but a good amount of characters have their tiny little arc throughout the movie. And you have to remember,
almost all of them do.
It's over the course of 16 hours, you know, so don't expect like some big, you know, change in development and character.
No, there's no, with the exception of maybe Pink, the main character, and even then, there's no life-changing arcs in this, you know.
Well,
Pink is definitely the most grounded in Randall. I call him. You can call him Pink Floyd if you want, but
Randall Pink Floyd.
I don't know. I'm looking at IMDb.
Randall, he's thinking a little more deeply about the things that are going on in front of him than everyone else.
Yeah,
and so you can follow him as like the straight man, and obviously you follow Mitch Kramer too, but he's just going along with it because he's a 14-year-old kid, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to see him like experience all this stuff for the first time that all these people ahead of him have been dealing with or hanging out with for a while. So yeah, you get all these little tiny scenes at the beginning, and it's cool, and it's playing Aerosmith and stuff, and like the title, you know, the time card says last day of high school,
1:05 p.m.
Yeah, 1:05 p.m. You know, 1976, and most people, unless you're Justin, well, no, he went to public school and for 4 years. We all know what it feels like on the last day of school. That's the best fucking feeling in the world.
Bro, here's the thing. Here's another thing that changed for me watching this movie. I've been a teacher now. I've been in the last day of school on the other side.
Yeah.
So I'm having this weird thing, even though I teach primary, not high school. And fortunately they don't really speak English, or if they found this podcast, that'd be screwed. But I try to teach them as little English as possible so they never find my
You heard it here first.
But but I weirdly find myself like relating to the teacher characters and stuff a lot more, which is a very interesting thing for teen movies, because obviously everybody's been a teenager, so everybody's supposed to sort of empathize with these teen characters. But there's a lot of parts where, you know, the teacher's like, will you be joining us for class? Will you be gracing us with your presence today for class? I relate to that. If a student, I've had that where a student walks in 10 minutes late, and I'm not a dick because they're 10, but I'm like, welcome, Manuel. Like, are you fine?
You kick him in the shins. Get in there.
Or are we gonna have to re-explain? You know, just kind of being like, or stuff like that, or even stuff. I'm kind of jumping ahead there, but there's a point with the coach, not the coach who makes him sign all the stuff. That guy's a dick. Who has bad teeth and makes him sign the like, I won't party this high school, which is like,
won't have sex after 12.
Yeah, what do you think that's gonna do? Like the fact that, and I'm like, so many adults, even today, I'm like, and I've met these teachers who like seem to hate children and have no memory of their own childhood and what it's like to be a child, and it's bizarre to me. Because like I'll snap at a kid, I've yelled at kids. Like I've broken the rule and spoken Spanish to my entire class and been like, I'm disappointed in you. You know, I've done that. But like, no, for real. Like, but there's always a point of like I understand where you're coming from. Like, I don't use this phrase, but I'm like, give a shit. Like, I don't expect all of you to be like perfect, but like respect me and give a shit. But here's the thing. My point is like, there's a point in that movie where it's like, I wonder what Linklater's intention was with there's a first coach, a younger coach, before they start talking about those purity pledges or whatever they are.
Yeah.
And he's the younger coach who's like in good shape, not like a fat coach. Have we all had fat coaches here? Is it
Yeah.
weird? Yeah, it's like what do you do? But like I'm not an athlete, but also I don't teach athletes, so but he's like a younger, fitter coach, and he's like, hey guys, just don't get soft lying around the pool chasing Muff all day or whatever he says.
Yeah, he literally says Muff. So.
Muff. He literally says Muff, which is like blunt. And I wonder what Linklater's intent is there. Like, are we supposed to think this guy's a douchebag or not? Because it does sound douchey, but A, compared to the other coach in that same scene, not nearly as bad. And B, if you think about it from a logical perspective, all he's saying is keep up with conditioning. That's all he's saying, which is actually a fair thing for a coach to say. Is like, I don't want to come back here in the fall and all of you have like gained 10 pounds of fat and lost 5 pounds of muscle, which is a weird thing.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. That's just a weird thing in that one scene, having those competing things. And I wonder.
Well, the whole movie, a facet of the entire movie is 70s masculinity,
Of course.
So it's just constant.
The male fantasy.
Yeah, but it's through a modern critique. Even though that's how it is.
Yeah.
Although I don't even know, I wasn't around the 70s, so I don't know how much of that is.
That's the
thing, watching a movie like this, how much of our cultural myths and our cultural memes, and I don't mean that like an internet meme, how much of our like cultural ideas come from movies and how many of them are placed into movies? The very classic life imitates art and vice versa argument. Because so many of my conceptions, for example, of like what a nerd and a jock is, which this movie actually avoids that pretty well, because you have people from different social groups hanging out with each other, which is part of the movie. But like part of your idea of like what a nerd is and what a jock is comes from cinema and comes from John Hughes and stuff. And I almost feel like we've gotten to the point as a society where like you got Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and all these people. Nerd is almost an obsolete term.
It's been regurgitated.
It's been regurgitated. It doesn't mean anything. Now, if you're a geek, it just means you're a simp for Disney brands. That's all that means. It means that you're a fucking consumer.
I think if it's not just spoken into through films, I think it's just glorified and popularized through media. What you're saying, like with art imitates life, life imitates art. I think most of what we see is stuff that's real, and then it's just become like the widely recognized, like you said, with even like celebrities and people, like you can point to them as branding stuff. So
right, or as certain like archetypes.
I have a feeling that Linklater growing up paid attention to a lot of details of his life.
Like you.
So,
of course he did. He's
he was just overly analytical.
Like,
overanalyzed everything.
This is just how the 70s were. You couldn't get away with making those freshman girls be hazed like that, today.
Let's see. That's another thing. We were talking about how we feel about the movie later. Like, this was probably my first time watching it, where I was just like, is nobody going to do anything about just all this crazy shit that's happening? Like, when I was a kid, I was like, when I watched it, I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is fun. This is a party. But then, like, now I'm just like, there are no cops involved. Like, it got me thinking. I was like, how long had these traditions been going around? Like the initiation from middle school to high school, like that for one night, the last day of school every year, that the parents and just the whole town's okay with what's happening.
Now, but then you do have to make it a movie. You have to make it entertaining. But continue. I thought the same thing. I'm like, where are the cops and all that? Everybody's driving drunk in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
Well,
but then it snaps a couple times, because you had the one point where the mom literally pulls a shotgun on the kid.
Oh,
and then the man comes back and with a gun and threatens them for breaking his mailbox. You do have those few moments where it does feel more realistic, but I think the whole movie, it's just, it's in a haze, obviously,
It's how they want to remember it, obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But there are just times like now as an adult, I'm like, where's the people to say, hey, what the fuck's happening?
I don't want that in this movie.
No, I didn't say I did, but
there is an adult in this movie, and his name is Matthew McConaughey. and he's too busy being. Dude, he's more problematic than
Scary.
the professional.
Yeah, it's like
he's too bad being a Chad.
we as
the
a
whole time.
society have said it's
Sigma male.
fine and okay for this pedophile character to exist and like have a laugh, because I mean it was less. It was a wilder time back then, and
I
like
guess he's-
they
I
do
I think
joke.
mostly though he was going for the girls. that were
Their
going out
age of
high school,
consent,
like
they're
at
16 or older. Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah, but like this is a 33-year-old man hanging out,
And he-
like whether or
He's
not
also
like
he's also grooming the 14. He's waiting
yeah,
for the
like
14-year-old.
he's hanging out with Mitch Kramer, who he obviously is a boy, but like Mitch Kramer is
Yeah,
like
he's a
14
groomer for sure.
Like
Yeah.
imagine being 33, let alone now hanging out with a 14-year-old kid that isn't like
Yeah.
a cousin or a brother or something.
I have no
I don't- I
desire
don't-
for it.
I don't think at this point we're glorifying the character. I think we're glorifying the performance.
I know,
And,
it's
you know,
beautiful. It's a wonderful
yeah.
performance.
No, because the character's supposed to be sad. That's why.
It's
That's why he gets away with
fucking
it.
Oh yeah,
horrible.
he's sad because like at the end when they're like, "Oh, you're reliving your glory days from a decade or so ago." It's
Yeah,
like,
they finally meet the cops and it's
And they're all
high
like-
school buddy.
They're all like
even they
hyping
say
up-
it in the movie. Like Mike and Tony say like, "We're not gonna hang out with that creepy guy," and then the girl they're with
Yeah.
swoons over him. So
Yeah, it's gross.
Which is
Yeah.
realistic.
It's just like
it's realistic. Yeah,
they're all like
it's super
hyping
accurate
up
to the times.
the high school experience on the football field, but Randall, of course, like I said, he's the only one who's like, man, if these are the best days of my life, fucking shoot myself right now.
That's how
Like,
I feel. Like
no
I-
other character
I'm so
has that kind of
glad-
mindset like he does.
Yeah, like, well, being like out of school in like Arkansas and stuff, like there's so many people that are just stuck in like, they're, like you said, high school are the best days of their life or whatever. I'm so
Fucking A.
glad that's not my
They're
thought
not.
perspective at all.
That's pathetic.
I'm so like, yeah.
And also he not signing that, him like adamantly not wanting to sign that paper may seem like kind of silly at first, like I was just some like team rebellion, but like it was reflective of that time period post Vietnam, like against the man, kind of like, this is
Yeah.
bullshit, we got to stand up for this. And like they even like throw around the phrase neo McCarthyism and stuff.
Yeah.
It's that 70s sentiment. So I think it's a little bit like it's not as like silly teen rebellion as like
It's finding
as I
yourself,
thought it was when I
obviously.
was younger.
It is finding himself, but also he's one of the only, because he's the quarterback. He's a skinny quarterback, by the way, but this is the 70s.
Yeah.
Warners would it up. But
Before beef testosterone.
yeah, before HGH and TRT. But before Blue Chew and all these other things that the podcasters are peddling. But the thing is, he's a
E-fuel.
quarterback, so he has the leverage to be like, I'm still
Right.
going to play on the team, but I'm not going to sign this fucking paper. Where are you going to find a new quarterback, asshole?
Yeah.
That's also the significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to talk about how good Ben Affleck is as playing a super senior, like a peak, like asshole, annoying douchebag.
Yeah,
It's,
he
like,
held
so
back
believable to
purposefully
me.
just to haze people again.
It's so believable to me that it like legitimately like pisses me off. Like I get mad. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like,
I don't know. I kind of kept slipping into thinking that guy's Batman a couple times through the movie.
I
Dude,
legit forgot it was
he's
him
dri-
until I was watching the credits.
Oh, I didn't.
again.
I was imagining him driving around that truck like the Batmobile.
like fucking weirdo, like creepy, like obsessed with like wanting to beat the shit out of these 14-year-olds. Like they're all doing it. Like it's a rite of passage, but like his
Mhm.
obsession with it is like
Too
fucking
much,
creepy.
yeah.
He has nothing else.
I know he has nothing else.
It's best years of
fucking
his
lame.
life.
Yeah, for real. And they even mention it, and it's
Yeah.
like he failed, I guess, so he could do this shit like
Yeah,
again. Like,
intentional.
holy
That's what I
fuck.
said.
I
I think
yeah. What?
as it goes, I think two things like Linklater is the best at non-plot slice of life movies.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone else that could
Before
just
sunrise.
and last week, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Last week we were talking about like Bergman, like just managing to capture real life, but Linklater captures real life, even more on a smaller time scale, and I just don't think there's anyone else like it. So for like slice of life non-plot movies, I think, there's nothing better than this,
Right.
really. And not only that, but it like launches and remains the face of teen movies, stoner movies, drunk movies, like whatever. It's like the face of, this type of culture,
Yeah.
70s culture and
I
stuff.
hate the term stoner
It's almost
movie.
as iconic as stuff like Woodstock,
I mean, I hate stoner culture, stoner this and that, but like, I mean, it is. Also, Sam,
Is this a
you're
stoner
frozen.
movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
Oh
it
wait, no,
though?
you're back.
Yeah, y'all froze for me.
Of course
There's
it
a
is.
stoner character. Okay, I guess. I
That's-
guess this is a movie.
They're
I can
constantly
imagine-
smoking weed.
Yeah, I can imagine sitting around.
It's called
smoking.
Dazed and Confused.
Yeah.
That's true, but that doesn't mean it's a stoner movie.
It is. Like,
Okay, fine.
it's a coming of age masterpiece, but it's also like
It's
something
also a
that
stoner
stoners
movie.
watch. Like, it's
Yes.
okay. Like Superbad is a fucking teen movie, but it's also like, I don't know. Anyway,
I was also thinking about how it's just so accurate for the time. Like it's accurate for the setting.
Is it?
Well, like,
Or the
like
fact that they're smoking so much weed.
well, I'm not talking about like that, like the drug usage and smoking, like the colors, like
yeah.
the clothing, the cars, the way everything looks and feels. Like it literally feels like it was filmed during '76.
I
It
know,
doesn't
yeah.
feel like it was filmed 2 decades later.
But that's what I'm asking. How much of that is because your conception of what the '70s is was shaped by this movie and movies like it?
I mean, I could ask my parents.
I mean,
like,
I've seen plenty of pictures of my mom back
yeah,
then,
like you can ask people
that's
that
what it
lived during
looked
that
like.
time.
I don't
That's
know. My
the
dad,
cars
my
they
son-
drove. That's
Scott
the stuff they
doesn't
wore.
think that Life is Real only movies.
Of course, it's
I
got
don't think
purposely
Life is
got
Real
an
movie.
like a yellow tint to it. Like, of course it does. That's the point.
The intervention of Scott's happening next week.
I don't know, man.
It's like, well, just like anyway. We can all relate to getting out of school and the excitement of the summer before you. And I like the moments where what's his name, like Don or whatever, he's like he calls the teacher by her first name and is like, hey,
It's
I'm
like, hey,
gonna
I'm
be legal.
turning,
I'm gonna be legal. We can do it. And she just pats him
and
on
she
the
pats
head.
him on the head.
I was
That was
like,
so funny.
That's like juxtapose that with 2020's kind of shit. It's just
Fucking snowflake political correctness. Is that
well,
what you're-
no, I'm just saying it's like back then everything was just different, and that's why it's like a fantasy to me almost.
Yeah,
It's
It is a fantasy movie.
it's
though.
an idyllic time for sure.
like, just like those glory days and all that, and like you were talking about how like the nostalgia of like playing at football games. I was in band too. Not as long as you were, but like yeah,
What do you
and
play?
clarinet.
He played the skin flute.
For like 5 years. I marched on the field. But just like going to the football games and stuff. In this movie, it's a baseball game, like a junior high baseball game, but you still get that sense of like, I know it's supposed to be awesome, but it's got that small town feel because like right after you got those two random old people like talking to Randall about like, you gonna be ready to throw football this next year?
That's sorry to interrupt, but like that's one of my favorite things about that. I would say the editing in this film, but it's more like the staging, like because you have the sub story of the kids, the middle schoolers playing that game, and they're like, "You better run! They're gonna chase you!" And as soon as they leave, it goes into like the Randall story. Like,
yeah,
it's like one
good.
scene, but with multiple.
He knows exactly
subplots,
like
yeah.
how long to spend with each group of people.
Yeah, you're not sitting there too long with one group of characters, forgetting the other characters. It's not like watching an episode, or it's not like watching a series of Walking Dead where you forget, what happened 5 episodes ago, or you're playing a video game and you're switching between characters, and you forgot what happened.
Oh, you're like, oh yeah, what did I do 6 quests ago? I
Exactly. You don't
forgot. Or
forget
you
that
talk
stuff.
to a random NPC and he's like, "You brought my quest item." I'm like, "Oh, I got this like 20 hours ago. I forgot."
It's like I've been playing Yakuza 0, and like I have those moments where you're playing as Majima, and then you're playing as Kiryu, and when you switch to the next character, you're like, I just want to be who I was playing as,
Oh,
yeah, dude. That's why Linklater needs to make a video game about the Yakuza. They're just hanging out
slice of life Yakuza
I know we
game.
shouldn't get on that. Those the games are almost like Hangout movies. I've heard.
The Yakuza games are literally slice of life video games. Like
they're just
no cap.
it's all like mini games, and then occasionally
and
you
sub
fight
stories.
people.
Like you're just
And
walking across the
sub-stories.
street and you just see people, and especially Yakuza 3, like it's just
I need to do that. Okay, anyway, Texas, not Weebland.
Well, what I'm saying,
not Tokyo.
A concept like a certain thing that I like in movies or like just from real life is like the feeling of like Friday night, like as it's starting to get darker and it's like, okay, what are we going to do tonight? What can we go do? You know, we can do whatever. And like the thought of it could take you anywhere, the night could take you anywhere is like exciting, but usually you end up inside playing video games, which for them would be playing poker, which they're trying to get out of. And it's like, okay, we play poker every Friday. Like, let's get out and like do something. And like,
I think that sequence, like when they're setting up, like you said, like after the party gets canceled at the house and they're like trying to set up, like the night is starting, the baseball game's starting, people are going to that drive-in restaurant. Like that sequence is great, and then it gets into the nighttime, and the whole movie just goes smoothly. It goes smoothly, but that sequence especially, it's just like super smooth, you know. And then you have another one that goes with it is like the water tower sequence. The shot of Austin like above on the water tower, and then like the 5 or so people up on top of the water tower is just like, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, Linklater, that's a great composition, and these shots are like very nice, but that's nice stuff right there.
Well, here's the thing, because it's not
he's not trying to make film's film.
Well, exactly. He's not trying to make a film buzz film. He's trying to make a film that's well made and true to his emotions.
Yeah.
Which is my criticism of some, like, I always get on this stuff, but like certain film bros who jerk off to certain cinematography, they're so focused on, and usually it's because they're younger. It's because they're like 18 to 21 and they don't have enough life experience. They're so focused on like the technicalities of the filmmaking, the way it looks, like they don't connect to the humanness of the film, you know, the human nature behind that, which is ultimately more important. That's this movie is not a classic because it's shot
because of the technical aspect.
The Revenant was shot amazingly, but people are going to talk about this movie long after they finished. I mean, how often do you bring up the Revenant?
Right.
Which is this movie, which I actually really enjoyed that movie, but I haven't
like
seen
the Revenant or like 1917. Yeah, you're going to talk
1917. I like a lot more than Revenant.
But I know. I was just saying their cinematography in both is sweeping and gorgeous. You know,
and also
there are movies too that have a phenomenal cinematography, but I just don't care about, like Birdman. I didn't like Birdman, and I didn't like Gravity. Gravity has some of the best CGI ever. Gravity bored the shit out of me.
Gravity, when Martin Scorsese talks about movies as theme park rides, I would actually say Gravity, even more than the MCU, is something I've seen akin to a theme park ride.
Yeah,
because like MCU still has like characters and quips.
MCU has lore, like deep pockets of lore.
deep lore. Deeper lore than Dazed and Confused. That's what this movie lacks, bro.
I need more lore for.
Dude, I need the Dazed and Confused expanded universe.
I need the compendium.
Each character has to get their own spin-off film.
Each character needs a Disney Plus movie.
Yeah.
How can you watch this movie and just not want to know what Tony's relationship with the freshman girl is going to be like?
See, well, like
that's you need to see the entire thing.
Like, even for a film that, like I said, it just feels like he captured a documentary in nature. I mean, I haven't like refreshed my memory on how the movie was made, but it almost feels like, because so much of it is ad-libbed, it feels like every actor was given, you know, a character breakdown and everything, and they just hyper focused in on that because they just feel like real people. Every single character. Yeah, that's what I thought I remember
hearing an interview, and I forget which character it was. It might have been Matthew McConaughey, but he was like, okay, here's your character, here's what albums he's listening to this year.
Exactly.
Like that level of detail of like, here's
I know that's how Linklater makes movies, because that's how he made the spiritual successor that is, you know, Everybody Wants Some. Every character is, you know, has a character study and a character breakdown, and it just kind of goes from like scripted moments to ad-lib moments, which a lot of McConaughey's performance in this one is ad-libbed, you know.
Right.
Imagine having to get into that character.
I bet it was real easy for McConaughey.
Hey, you like underage girls?
That's not. That's
Like,
not.
all right, cool.
McConaughey, if you're listening, that was a joke.
We love you.
Now, something I can relate to in the movie is like, and like teens can still relate to, is like back in the day, if you didn't have shit to do, like because the party at their house gets canceled, all teens would just like drive around. And like I remember just not having anything to do, so we would just drive around. We would like go to Sonic, or we would like walk around like Hastings or Walmart or whatever, and like drive around like. So like that has like never changed. Like we never, like, usually there was only a select few houses that were like big enough and like cool enough that we could all go hang out at. So usually it was like, okay, what the fuck are we gonna do, you know? So I like that they captured that aspect, obviously influenced by American Graffiti.
Right. Well, also that's just American car culture is so unique, and I know I'm being Scott the expat right now, but I see a lot. Also, the drinking age here is 18, so that changes everything. But it's weird. I was in a bar one time and I was just talking to some guy. I was like, "How old are you?" He's like 19. I was like, "Oh shit." It's so weird here because like I see teenagers walking around and they're all just taking buses or trains everywhere, and so I don't know. I feel like that shouldn't be overlooked. Of like, I know we're talking about Austin as a place, but like how essential that the auto industry is to this era, back when we had somewhat of an auto industry, or maybe it was dying. I don't have the exact timeline, but also like how essential that is to American culture and the American teen experience. You know.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's weird because this is not necessarily this movie specifically, but like I've talked to a lot of people, a lot of Europeans whose like conceptions of America is formed from Hollywood. And so that sort of thing of teenagers riding around in cars, which is a real thing, is like so ingrained in so many people's ideas. I mean, often to the point where like people have this very romanticized idea of America that I kind of have to I have to kind of be like, Hollywood's kind of a shithole, right? In the same way that we romanticize Europe. And I'm like, there's like, you can't film a cop in Spain, right? It's illegal. Like, it's not everything's great. But I just want to comment on that, on the car culture. I feel like Linklater would be a car guy. I bet you could have a conversation about cars with that guy.
I feel like Linklater's an everything kind of guy.
I think he's just a student of life.
Linklater just loves life, yeah. Like that was like brought me to the point was that I was going to ask y'all if y'all watched Everybody Wants Some.
I haven't.
Yeah, I saw it back when it came out. I wasn't like overwhelmed by it, but I'd like to give it another shot because like the first time I watched this movie, I wasn't like, I think I was too young to like really appreciate it the first time.
I was in my 20s.
And
I think Everybody Wants Some is good. It's just as Linklater. I
also think Linklater is one of those like people. He made the Before trilogy and he made this, and so he's almost backed himself into a corner where it's like everything he makes will be compared against like a classic trilogy and then this classic, where it's like hard for him.
I really
like Boyhood.
I love Boyhood.
A lot of people criticize Boyhood or whatever, and I think, I don't know, but I love that movie. I think it's very successful.
No, Boyhood takes it to the next level by like actually capturing each year, like while it's happening.
Which
like,
is honestly almost like the natural evolution of him as an artist.
Yeah.
As a...
It goes from catching like one night a slice of life thing like this to make...
Especially because it was like...
almost a whole lifetime.
The kid is like only a little bit younger than us. Like I'm seeing like... There's one part like where they're like waiting in line for the new Harry Potter book. I'm like, I can't believe that this is captured in film and like when it happens. And like this is like wholly relatable. But I've talked to my mom, even like, in the early 80s, they were driving around and she would tell me like stories about that and stuff. And it was fun to like hear like real life stories from, a parent, I guess.
That's
and like,
I feel like you've talked to your mom about
beer and wine used to be, you had to be 18 back then. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah. Now you have to be 21 to buy cigarettes, but we've talked about this. You can go to war.
And like, I'm trying to think like, so
I do know that drunk driving was like, it wasn't like less of an issue. I think this is before MAD, before Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
Yeah.
Also, dude, I remember I had a friend's dad, this was like middle school, talk about like he would make a bunch of PGA punch with his friends and have a party and invite girls over. And then like he was like, yeah, we just drive the back roads, but it wasn't very populated, even though it was at night. I'm like, it was just the entire culture was different then.
Yeah.
And this is such an interesting. It's amazing they really make. I don't know where the location was. They make, or if it was Austin, or maybe they shot in the suburbs or something. But like, it did make Austin feel smaller because I just looked it up. Austin was like 300 something thousand people, so like still bigger than like Little Rock, about Lexington size. I lived in Lexington, Kentucky. Now it's almost a million. You know, so I mean, their ability to make it look less populated than it is when you're looking over it. Yeah. But here, yeah, it feels almost smaller than it was. But also, I don't know how sprawled out it was.
It's pretty sprawled out.
Austin,
Texas.
Have you been to Austin? Yeah, well, to everything in Texas is sprawled out.
Yeah,
I've
been to Austin.
God, Texas
it's pretty sprawled out.
I'm trying to think, like, because like they obviously they have certain 18-year-olds to buy them beer and stuff, but like, you know, they have to like Mitch like goes in and the guy's like, you're 18, right? Like, oh yeah. Them, yeah. I work for the city. I heard this from Wooderson. You know,
that was. I was gonna bring this up because I was like, this should be our next talking point. Is like all the intricate like moments where different characters are with other characters. You know, as they split and cross.
Yeah.
I think Mitch, and like Randall are like the two that have meet everyone throughout the film.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's so much like. As much as it is like you think that Randall's like the lead because he's top billing or whatever, it's Mitch. Mitch goes through so much in the movie. Like back here, he's talking to the girl, which is a really cute scene outside the club, and then he's doing the mailbox bashing, and then he's doing the sweet talking to the guy. He's buying the booze for everyone, and I like his arc a lot,
and just how smoothly he transfers from group to group, and you just don't even like think about it the first time.
He was way cooler than me at 14. I would have.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell he's going to be like the new Randall. Hopefully not the new Wooderson, but like the new Randall. Like
not the new Wooderson.
Here's the thing.
He just gets it.
I think Sam, and I think one of the reasons they do that is, Mitch is the closest thing we have to the audience.
Yeah, Mitch is the audience.
Mitch is the audience because he's being taken through and meeting all these new people.
Exactly. Mitch is our eye into the world.
Yeah, he's from the outside world, just like Harry Potter and Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. He's new to everything, and we're following him through it. And because it's a smooth going, everything works out kind of movie. There, he works through everything. Everything works. He melds and mixes with everyone, and I think it's good.
Well, yeah, and it's like he does get the shit beat out of him, but like,
it's part of life.
It's part of it, yeah. Which reminds me of not a grievance, because it's not a grievance, it's just a funny part of the movie. But like the part that like makes me most upset is that at the middle school or junior high dance, they go back there and they get Hirschfelder. Hirschfelder is like making out with this chick, like feeling her up, and they're like, "Come on, pussy, let's go, let's get out of here." And he's like, "What?" They should have just left him.
It's so annoying. Yeah,
like that's obviously like the most like. I would have been so pissed off if my friends like got me at like 14, like you're making out with this chick. But
I like the moment with Mitch and Pink in the car, like after the black dude and Albanian leave,
the black dude.
I mean, that's pretty much his character.
He's the token black dude. There's another moment. His whooping stick says the soul pole on it.
Oh my god,
it's so funny. It's
dude.
So funny.
At least he has some lines in the movie.
Oh no, he's a character. He's a character.
It's not like Adventureland where they just have the black best friend with literally 0 lines.
Yeah,
he's the only person.
Oh yeah. But no, like that moment where they're about to beat him, and then he's like, "No, I got this," and then they walk off, and he just takes him on a ride home and teaches them about life. Like there are those life lessons. There are those life lessons spread across the movie that are just like really good. Like the same with what's his face? Like when you said Don, right? Like the other football guy. Like at the end of the movie, where before the cops show up, where he's just talking, like y'all said about earlier about like being stuck there or moving on and all that stuff. Like moments like that are really good.
And you know, as soon as Randall like talks to Mitch, you see like, okay, this is like one of the good guys. Like
Yeah.
he's got like self-awareness. He's not like completely just like party animal like Dawn or the other ones. So you
And
really
you can see that's why he ends up going along with him for the rest of the night, because he feels safe with him. He's not just going along with like the bad guys.
the same for Sabrina, and Mitch's sister takes Sabrina under her wing too for some of it. You
Yeah.
know? So it's parallels between the two characters. That's why they get together, I guess, you know, at the end.
Yeah.
But just like also like we get the high school shit, but we also get like the fresh out of middle school boys who are like, yeah, it'll say bend over, and like they're like, you know, just like I love middle school banter, dude. It's so
I
funny.
love it. It's so
It's
dumb.
For the Xbox
That's why
Live
I
days,
still
for sure.
talk that way.
fucking beautiful in a way, dude. Like,
It is. It's beautiful.
And like and the
Any-
fact that they get revenge on O'Banion and drop all that paint on him, and it's like that's one, you know, that's like a classic like teen moment, you
It's
know.
a movie. It's a fantasy.
Then he
It's a dream.
legitimately like almost
Yeah.
hurts himself
I feel like
breaking his
that
stick.
had to be wish fulfillment for.
Yeah,
later.
probably so.
He was like, he probably had some guy who like harassed him in high school, and he was like, "This is for you, Billy."
Yeah, imagine the guy.
He sends
yeah,
him a
going to
copy
see
of
that
it on
movie.
Laserdisc. He's like,
Yeah,
ah, bitch. This is for you. I
Also,
think
what's
I
that?
think one of the points is like, as I've gotten older, like I said, we talked about like the severity of it all, and not like thinking like, damn, you know, something bad could happen at any moment. There are those moments that take you out of like the smooth coasting, like we talked about with the guns and
With
the guns,
dude, the gun.
and then the
Yeah,
fight.
it's like
It's Texas. That can happen, man.
as
But then-
quickly as it gets serious, though, they fucking
It goes right back to it.
They start laughing. They're like, "Oh, we're
goes
getting
right
shot
back to
at,"
it.
and it's like,
Yeah.
boom, right back into it. Yeah,
Like the thing is like at the very end, well, not the very, very end, but like at the end of it, the Mike and Clint fight at the big water tower is like the last, you know, it's like it's the last break. It's like, okay, we're just smooth, and then boom, life hits, you know, there's a big dramatic moment, but then immediately it's fine again, and then you're just in the wind down of it
I
all.
want to talk about that too, because like he's like waxing intellectual the whole movie and like talking about the dominant male and stuff, but he's the one who goes back for more. He's like, I gotta punch this guy. I gotta.
Yeah,
do
he
it.
says he'll regret it if he goes his whole life without
Yeah.
fighting back.
And so
Which
like
is
he
something
thinks
when I was watching that, I was thinking about you, how you say you overly always think about in the moment what it's going to be like later
but
down
the
the
problem
line.
is that he thinks it's this big character moment for himself when
He
in fact
he compares it to Hemingway and Pollock.
yeah, it's just some stupid decision, you know, which is
I thought-
in itself like
I'll
didn't
ask you
realize it,
this.
but yeah.
Did you think Mike reminded you of Alec? There are just
No.
moments in the movie where I'm like, this Mike is Alec, isn't he?
Also, I want to talk about a self-aware moment from Linklater during that scene where one of the girls is like talking about how like it's every other decade. Like the 60s were cool, 70s suck, 80s are probably going to be awesome. You know, it's like off self-reflective. So, you know, there's definitely like a good amount of self-awareness despite the rose-tinted glasses, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I like that a lot. And it's so funny.
No, that's
like,
necessary, and I think that's something that a lot of nostalgic movies lack, and a lot of
Yeah.
nostalgia in general lacks, because there's so much nowadays. You know, I mean, we got Space Jam: A New Legacy coming out, for fuck's sake.
fucking A.
Yeah.
Which we're all gonna have to watch to review.
Are we reviewing that?
We have to.
Okay.
The corporate overlords have told us that we have to.
I'm definitely breaking copyright law for that one. I'm not giving them any fucking money. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
What was I gonna
Cops
say though?
come after me. But no, I feel like there isn't that self-awareness in a lot of because people want nostalgia because they feel they're afraid of, you know, global warming and shit, and like societal collapse on late stage capitalism, blah blah blah. I've read Reddit, but you don't acknowledge that. You don't acknowledge the flaws in that period, and a lot of times. I mean, I guess it's getting better. We're getting more like feminist and racial critiques of certain periods, but I don't know. Fuck Stranger Things. I think that's my point in that.
Just comes down to it.
Don't tell Parker. But yeah.
Really, she likes Stranger.
Most people like Stranger Things, Scott.
I've only watched the
It's
first
it's
few
okay.
episodes.
They're sheeple.
I'm gonna watch them all. I'm gonna watch all 3 seasons.
Yeah,
After
and then you can play the
years of
Dead by
fighting against
Daylight
it, I'm
expansion.
gonna watch it.
Oh, because Pussy got involved and made you watch it. Yeah.
Because she's watching the MCU for me, so it's a trade.
Oh, that's a trade. That's
Both are
fair.
popcorn, silly, whatever.
Yeah, they are.
But I don't know. It's just a lot
I was
of.
gonna ask
poignant-
y'all, do y'all think there are any movies that are smoother or more easygoing to watch than
I mean,
this?
This and American Graffiti are like this to me. So
I love American
it's
Graffiti.
like super. Like I'm trying to think of like movies that are like casual like this. There's some
going
Studio
back,
Ghibli movies that are just like laid back
Yeah.
that you could just put on like this.
going back into it, I forgot just like how feel good it was, like how it made me feel watching it. So what are y'all like other feel good movies? Like if you're just down in the ruts or you forget like your place in life, if you go back and watch something, what is it? Because for me personally, I'm always gonna say Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead always brings me right back up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That's
it's
actually not a bad one. That's not
it's-
a bad one for me.
It's my
either.
second favorite movie. It keeps the horror
Yeah.
genre, like me, the horror genre. It's the comedy, the romance. Like it's always the one that cheers me up the most when I need a movie to pick me up.
Mine would be, of course. Well, not of course. People don't know me. Howl's Moving Castle.
Mhm.
That is like the most like spirit cleansing, like relaxing movie.
That's a good word for it. Spirit
So-
cleansing. I like that.
Like if I need to refresh, like literally the day after my grandma passed, I like watched that because I like needed it. It was there for me. So
Mhm.
it's just one of those movies. And this is like this is a movie I kind of like for a while like tried not to overwatch because I wanted it to like savor it for a while
Mhm.
because I loved it so much.
So you think, but even like when it comes to your favorites like that, you think watching it too much would detriment it?
some
avoid that.
movies.
Some.
I
Not all.
I also
Definitely
it
not
doesn't
all.
matter.
I also do that with certain directors. Like one reason I haven't seen more Bergman is I'm like saving some of his
Yeah.
filmography for later in my life.
I understand.
I
I
don't-
bought
I do that-
I
I
bought
do
the
that.
set and I didn't plan on watching it all at once. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's
just
the thing.
crazy.
I don't
There's
wanna
30 something
read-
movies in there.
There's still plenty of Cormac McCarthy stuff I haven't read just because like I haven't read Child of God yet. I'm still waiting. I'll read that when I need a new book that I
Yeah.
really need to break through.
Oh shit. I just remembered I purposely when I got into the Beatles in 10th grade, when I torrented their discography, for some reason Beatles for Sale wasn't in it. And so I never heard Beatles for Sale until I realized in like when I was like 20. I was like, wait a minute, I've never heard this record. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to listen to this record. And it'll be a Beatles record that will be fresh to me years later.
So you still haven't listened
Still
to
haven't listened to Beatles for Sale.
Nice.
Because then like
Next
people are like, oh,
podcast.
that's the Beatles like weakest album. And it's like, dude, it's still going to be cool to me. Like I've never heard
Yeah.
like I've purposely not listened. I should probably listen to it. It's not even
Yeah.
like that big. I just forgot about it.
It happens.
But
I do that same thing with movies.
like certain movies like A New Hope, I don't give a fuck. I'll just put on anytime.
Oh yeah,
Like,
dude, for sure. Well, you were saying like how you were watching Ghibli after your grandma. Like after I lost dad, I was like, I gotta watch Star Wars. That's just
yeah.
the
Just-
big
yeah.
stuff, the stuff that like he imprinted on me. And
Yeah.
his favorite stuff that
I wonder what
and like even going into like, well, that's like a different conversation for later.
Yeah.
yeah.
The sequel
Usually
trilogy
when I'm down, I
podcast.
watch Solo.
Man.
Solo?
Solo.
I just think about like Rich. I assume Linklater has children and what
I think
like,
it does.
He does.
and what it would be like to be his child to like watch this movie that's obviously inspired by
yeah.
him like coming of age and stuff, like how crazy that would be. That's like
So
I
would
mean
we say that like
showing
Linklater
my
is
child
Wiley.
yeah, well just like if I had a kid like and when they were growing up I'd be like, here's Moonman, check out when I was 21 years old. And that would be tripped out, except this isn't even like a fantasy. This is like me like literally like filming myself,
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's just a weird like thing. And like you can tell how important this was for Linklater to make this movie. And now that the fact that it's like a classic is beautiful. And like
It's got to feel good.
yeah, it's got to feel great. And,
I wish I had a classic. Shit.
What's
and
weird?
like
This
And
movie
it's
only has
kinda
a
like-
this movie only has a 78 on Metacritic, which I know is
fuck
not
I
the
could
end
give
all
two
be all.
Fuck the
fucks
other
about
people, yeah.
Metacritic.
I'm gonna give two fucks about Metacritic. I could okay. So Variety, you don't care about Variety in the New
Fuck
York
no.
Times?
It's got a Criterion release, boy. That's all I need to know. True patrician seal of
The
approval.
American Film Institute. Okay.
No, but like, well, I can see why certain people that the Hangout kind of wouldn't click with them. You know,
Yeah.
they want a certain thing out of movies, and
I was reading something last night, and it was like, this isn't the best movie for people that want to feel nostalgic about the 70s. I was like, why? Like, it doesn't say anything bad about the 70s. I was like, I don't know. I guess it's like people that lived in the 70s that were actually doing shit don't want to watch a movie about people in the 70s that weren't doing shit. I just
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like
I think it goes back to this is knowingly a dreamlike
yeah.
depiction of this, because I also think I actually heard Bill Burr talk about this when he was making F is for Family, his Netflix animated show.
Mhm.
He's like, he made that part of the reason why he wanted like gritty 70s, everything has this like boxy wood design to it, and everybody's like in shitty post-war jobs, because like that was the 70s he grew up in, like Boston suburbia at the time. So like I do think there's a level of idealism. Like not everybody was wearing tie-dye, not everyone was dressing like that.
Yeah.
But there's a level of idealism that was that. I mean, you know, I've seen photos of my dad from the 70s. He didn't look fucking cool. He definitely he looked you know what, he kind of looked like the guy with the glasses in this movie who ended up being in Rent. He looked a lot like that.
But Tony ends up scoring the freshman at the end. So
no, she's not. She's a sophomore.
oh,
She's 15.
Misremembered who it was.
That's fine.
Oh wait, no. Yeah,
he does score the freshman because it's the one that like they had him like talk to.
No, Mitch scores the freshman. Tony scores, or no, Mitch scores
Mitch
the sophomore.
scores
Tony
the sophomore.
Scores the incoming freshman. So I guess she's probably like 13. He's like 15, 16. It's a little weird.
She's probably 14.
14.
And he's
14,
probably
16.
15 or 16.
Yeah.
Either way.
Or 25 if we're doing by actors.
That's what I was gonna say. Like apart from like the main like actors, like a lot of those other dudes just look way older than 18.
Yeah, even
falls
Randall
into the
looks
old,
way older than 18.
falls into the old Spider-Man thing.
But also people just looked. I mean, the 70 people, the way they dressed and everything.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Older. Maybe there wasn't as much like hormones in the chicken breasts. I don't know.
We look younger these days, man. I'm telling you, because I was looking,
that's not a lot.
It's just how it is. I was looking at
you could say the
yesterday.
same thing about
AJ Soprano. He's 35 now. He looks exactly the same as he did when the show ended. But he's like 2 years younger than Gandolfini was when he started The Sopranos. But Gandolfini looks fucking.
Well, Gandolfini didn't take
man.
care of his body, really.
I feel like there was like a weird. I don't know. People look older back then.
It's the hormones in the chicken.
Probably. Of the overly
although then,
processed
everybody smoked and drank more.
Everyone's cooking with lard. Like,
yeah, and now people will do coke, but then they'll be vegan, so it cancels.
Yeah,
out,
all good.
So the wind down of the movie though, like that's just something. When watching it again, I just really felt that. Like I've been to so many like parties, in college and stuff, and it's just like, do we keep going?
Yeah.
What happens now? Like. Some of the characters by the end, obviously they keep going. They're awake for like 2 days straight, and then some
they go to Waffle House. Some of
they
them
go to sleep. Yeah,
and then other ones, go.
I don't know why it hit me so much. Maybe it's because I'm older now and I don't have that energy that they did in the movie. But it's just like, when I was in like high school, middle school, I was like, shit, dude, you could go forever without sleeping.
You could. Now I don't even want to.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's not that you can't; it's you don't want to. Yeah,
that you don't want that. It's like I'm gonna fuck up. I'm gonna spend my whole weekend recovering.
Yeah, I want to go to sleep. I
want to go to sleep.
Dude, Casher will like take a day off of work just to recover sometimes.
Dude, that's
I can't do that.
Monster.
Dude, I have to have like a set bedtime. I have to go to sleep now, man. Like
I've literally I know this is another Spain thing. Spaniards are such fucking partiers and night owls. That and apparently I've asked people, they have nothing compared to the Latinos. Asked some Chileans about them, and they're like, the Spaniards are fucking pussies. They don't know how to party. But the or Honduran, there's like, this ain't shit. But I've been
to the white man.
I've been at like a Christmas social pre-COVID when we went to a restaurant we got there at 9. And got our food at like fucking midnight because everything takes forever in this goddamn godforsaken country. And then I love Spain, but Jesus Christ. And then it was like 12:30. We were finally getting out. I was like, ah, thank God. Me, the other like 20-something-year-old English teachers were like ready to go. Then my 35 to 40-year-old Spanish colleagues walk across the street to go into a club. And I'm like, fuck this. And we all take an Uber home. Some people never stop or grow up.
It's kind of like,
which is sad because then you end up being not my coworkers, you end up being Matthew McConaughey. I had one of those people show up in my house. I randomly hung out with this Australian guy who showed up in my apartment on my birthday and was like, hey, it was weird because he started speaking English. I'm like, wait a minute, you're not Spanish. And he's like, yeah, I've been on like a Coke binge for 2 days. You should try Coke. And he didn't say, and he was like, you should try Coke sometime, man. He kept trying to get me to do Coke. He's like sitting there with a hot dog on his beer gut that I gave him. Like, it was like a hot dog because it's 4th of July. I was like, gee, Jesus. So the Matthew McConaughey's are around and they're alive and well. And also for some of them, they actually seem happier than me, which is confusing.
I mean, I get it to a degree. Yeah. But
because you're simple. Once you're simple and you want simple. Once you give up, that's a
thing. There's happiness and misery in every facet of life.
It's fine
and they're interwoven.
It's fine to party every now and then, but for like after I moved away from my hometown, I started like getting like isolated from like people and I wasn't going out as much. And like
how I feel.
I started becoming more and more like introverted than I ever was, and then COVID hit and like it reset everything in me, and I had time to like realize like, man, I want to go out and do shit again. And now that I'm vaccinated, like I'm like, oh fuck, I've been going out and like hanging out and doing all kinds of stuff. And like Justin's party is next week, and I haven't been to a party since before COVID. Like this is going to be the first like rager I've been to in like years. And like, I'm looking forward to it. It's not something you do all the time, but like, I am looking forward to it. And so
I never want to go outside again. I'm completely traumatized. I never want to talk to another human being. This is all the interaction I want until our next podcast.
Just virtual
right now. Kind of. Bo Burnham's inside. We didn't get around to reviewing that. Basically everything he says, I agree with.
Yeah.
Well, Bo Burnham needs to go touch grass. So
he does. No, he doesn't.
Yeah. Anyway,
so
he needs to keep making.
You know how we were talking about movies like this, like with American Graffiti. I find a good pairing piece with Dazed and Confused is Detroit Rock City. Like,
yeah, fair.
I absolutely adore that movie.
That's an underrated movie.
Exactly, and I've spent a long time of my life trying to figure out just which film I like more.
Well, Detroit Rock City is not as good. I don't think on like an artistic level, but it's like a sillier, wackier teen movie,
Yeah,
it's definitely fun to watch.
It's got its place, especially in my heart.
Well, it's funny actually about that movie is like I came up with an idea to a movie and I pitched it to my friend at the time, and he's like, "Bro, that's already a movie. It's called Detroit Rock City." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah," and we watched it. And I'm like, "Fuck, you're right." Like it was like scary how close it was.
It's such a good movie.
Because you're stupid and your ideas have been done.
Yeah,
before.
Thank you, Scott. I haven't consumed every piece of media known to man.
That's how I feel when I write something and I'm like, please don't tell me this exists. Please don't tell me.
Why
I'll be writing something.
There's no point in me making art. Everything has been done before and done better.
No, I don't think so.
Talented me.
Really, Moonman's been done before, huh?
I feel I shouldn't do anything.
Moonman versus Godzilla won.
And also, this movie came out 13 years after 1976. The world won't exist in 13 years, so I won't be able to make a movie about this. So just give up. Anyway, any final
Siri,
thoughts?
Play Comsuser, Todd. Anyway, what was I gonna say? The ending of the film, obviously, the adventure continues. They go straight and they get in the car and they start driving to Houston to get Aerosmith tickets, and it just like ends on that. Like
that's a funny thing. I was thinking, do you think Wooderson would forget about the girl that he promised to take to Aerosmith?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's just some bullshit.
Or would Randall just remind him?
He's the OG like fuckboy.
Weirdly like beautiful ending, even though it's like
Slow Ride is like the best way to end that out on. It's just so smooth, like the whole damn
thing.
There
they go, off into the unknown.
Like a smooth whiskey, like a good old smooth whiskey. I did have a funny idea, just because it's where I'm coming from with loving horror movies, and I think that movies like Dazed and Confused are like the lives of these people that are in like movies like Friday the 13th. Just the kids that are just like having sex and drinking and having fun. And I thought it was like, what if there's a movie? It was like a whole, like this movie's like a hour 38. It's like whole movie, and then at the end, a killer just shows up and just starts slaughtering everyone.
Or what if this? I mean, this is the movie. This is Friday the 13th. If Jason wasn't a real thing,
Yeah,
they were allowed to be debauchery.
Friday the 13th. If Jason didn't drown,
this is a slasher movie minus the slasher. That's all. That's Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, that's how I got the vibe of this movie, because that's how all slasher movies start off.
No boobies. You gotta have boobies.
Oh, that's right. Okay, by that definition, Summer with Monica is more of a slasher movie than this.
No, but final thoughts on Dazed and Confused.
Top 100 film for sure.
This is one of the most influential films to me of all time, and I love it.
It's the face of so many genres, like we talked about.
Yeah.
It's the face of an entire like type of filmmaking and non-plot, and it's going to be around as long as I think people
it's
care
the beauty
about movies.
of being lost in the teen experience.
And you know what? You know what I say about this movie? I get older, it stays the same age.
Yeah. And with that, we're going to end our podcast on Dazed and Confused. Thank you for coming to Kino's Summer Hangouts. Next week, I don't know. We got to review some shit. I know we're going to review Black Widow. I don't know if Scott will be a part of that. Probably not. But we're going to review Black Widow and that stupid corporate Space Jam remake, because I hate myself
with the people
sometimes.
from Clockwork Orange, but no Pepe Le Pew for some fucking reason.
Yeah. We're not getting into that. But yeah, look forward to some of that next time. Thanks for watching.